Muscle cars. You've spotted them speeding along highways and featured on magazine covers. But not everyone deserves the hype. Some models may have a sleek, strong appearance, but underneath all that flash, they're hiding a nightmare of safety hazards, constant breakdowns, and money pits waiting to trap you. What if owning one of these muscle cars results in more time spent in the mechanic shop than behind the wheel? Let's find out the truth about 6 muscle vehicles that could drive you crazy, and not in a good way, before you waste your money on a terrible deal. Number 6. 2025 Dodge Hornet. Let me introduce you to the Dodge Hornet, the worst-selling car in the United States right now. As of 2024, it takes an unbelievable 487 days on average for the Hornet to find a buyer on dealership lots. As a comparison, an ordinary car sells in roughly 40 days. That means this Dodge takes more than a year, yes, an entire year, to sell a single unit. It seems like buyers are deliberately avoiding this car. Can you believe it? The price starts at $31,000, but the truth is that you don't get the best value for your money. It's basically a rebadged Alfa Romeo Tonale built on an Italian basis. While that sounds advanced, it doesn't necessarily translate into reliability, especially for an American brand like Dodge. Under the hood, it packs a 268 horsepower engine, offering some decent power. Even while the technology is solid, the ride comfort and spaciousness aren't as good as those of its rivals. The first thing you'll notice when you slide into the driver's seat of the Dodge Hornet is how surprisingly high the sitting position feels. In most cars, this wouldn't be a huge concern, but for a sporty SUV, it's a little strange. Regarding storage, it's okay. The cabin has enough room, but the trunk is a little small, making you wish there was a little more space. Additionally, if you're taller, you could feel a little crowded in the back seat. It's evident that this SUV wasn't designed with much legroom in mind. And let's not forget that this is an American automobile that is based on an Italian car, which presents some significant dependability issues. When you have a vehicle like the Toyota RAV4 available, it's tough to understand why someone would choose the Hornet. The Hornet boasts some fun driving features, but when you compare it to what other brands provide in that price range, it's hard to justify making the purchase. Unless, of course, you are able to secure an absolutely killer lease deal. After this recent worst muscle car, how about we take a step back in time and check out one from the past? Number 5. 1968 to 70 Pontiac Tempest. When it comes to investing in classic cars, not all of them are deserving of the reputation. The 1968 Tempest is a reminder that Pontiac, which is credited with creating the first real muscle vehicle with the legendary GTO, was not immune to a misstep. Under the hood, the 6.6-liter V8 engine produced 340 horsepower, which may seem impressive on paper, but in reality, it was no match for the powerful motors in its rivals. The second version of the Pontiac Tempest, which was released in the late 1960s, struggled greatly despite its daring start. The Coke bottle design, intended to grab attention and draw in a new generation of drivers, soon backfired. What started out as a bold move to modernize the model turned out to be a major mistake, leading to low sales and a barrage of negative feedback. The Tempest was certainly capable, but it wasn't a showstopper. By 1970, the Tempest's destiny was already set. Although the first generation showed promise, the second edition was unable to overcome the negative feedback. After just 2 years, Pontiac decided to discontinue it, and the Tempest was replaced by the Le Mans, which ultimately carried on the legacy. This story is about a car that began with promise but soon lost its appeal, disappointing both buyers and enthusiasts. After reflecting on the issues with this old model, would it be a good idea to move towards something a bit more modern? Number 4. 2024 Ford Mustang. The 2024 Ford Mustang seems like the dream muscle car at first glance, drawing attention everywhere with its aggressive stance and iconic design. engine's growl promises excitement and power, but that's where the fantasy starts to fall apart. What should be an exhilarating drive becomes a frustrating one as engine misfires and dependability problems appear sooner than anticipated. Muscle car fans may find it to be a less than ideal purchase due to reliability issues and costly repairs. Many owners of Ford Mustangs have been complaining about various problems with their vehicles. The most common issues with transmissions are slipping gears that interfere with acceleration, delayed gear changes, and jerky or harsh shifting. And it doesn't end there. Braking problems, such as excessive brake wear, screaming, or soft brake pedals, are fairly common complaints. Then there's the air conditioner. The blower motor either fails entirely or simply stops producing cold air. Drivetrain problems, such as annoying vibrations or issues with the limited slip differential, can negatively impact handling. On top of all that, you may have to deal with build quality issues like water leaks, misaligned panels, or chipping paint. Even safety systems, like blind spot monitoring and lane departure alerts, don't always work as they should. The Mustang is a showstopper on the road, but its flashy exterior conceals all these issues that can be difficult to resolve. Now let's travel back in time to the 1976-1977 Dodge Charger Daytona, a name that echoes speed but carried a legacy much different from that. Number 3, 1976-1977 Dodge Charger Daytona. The Dodge Charger Daytona from 1976 to 1977 is an example of how even legends can fall from grace. Once known for its speed and dominance, the Daytona of this era fell short of expectations, offering disappointment rather than performance. Under the hood, the power that defined its predecessors essentially disappeared. The base model dragged along with a weak 318 small block engine, while optional upgrades like the 360 and 400 cube engines hardly scratched the surface of what a muscle car should offer. This was a difficult pill to swallow for fans who were craving the roar of raw power. The model's rust problems and the additional weight from safety features slowed down what little performance it could manage, and mechanical defects only made the disappointment worse. The car's performance was further neutered by safety regulations and emissions controls. The once dominant Charger Daytona had a tarnished legacy and was now a weak shadow of its former self, disappointing the fans. The 1993 Chevy Camaro, a muscle car with a stunning appearance but lacking in power and performance, comes next. Number 2, 1993 Chevy Camaro. When the 1993 Chevy Camaro first appeared on the market, the design underwent a significant change. The muscular, aggressive stance of its predecessors had vanished, which was replaced with a softer, rounder form that lacked the same commanding presence. With a mediocre V6 engine producing only 160 horsepower, the Camaro was hardly the powerhouse. However, there was a bright side. It was still constructed on the same F-body platform, which allowed for future advancements. The OptiSpark distributor, which was extremely sensitive to heat and humidity, frequently resulted in stuttering, misfires, and poor performance, was one of its most well-known problems. The cost of replacement could reach $300 or more if the design is installed under the water pump. As if that weren't enough, mechanical horrors also included the cooling system, where problems with oil temperature were caused by the high compression ratio, and the fans didn't start until dangerously high temperatures. Moreover, the low-quality plastic parts inside felt fragile and brittle. The 1993 Camaro really didn't live up to expectations, earning a reliability rating of only 25th out of 80. Owners were left frustrated and searching for answers due to persistent problems with the engine, cooling system, electrical system, and interior. You don't want to be one among them, right? Last but not least, the 1982 Pontiac Trans Am may appear mighty, but is it all smoke and mirrors? Number 1, 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. The 1982 Pontiac Trans Am was cast alongside legendary David Hasselhoff in the classic television series Knight Rider because of its sleek, sharp lines and bold appearance. A pitiful 90 horsepower was all that the standard engine could produce, and even with the improved engine, you were only producing 165 horsepower. The showstopper had more show than quality. The TH200C 3-speed automatic transmission was infamously unreliable, frequently breaking down around 60,000 miles. In terms of dependability, the Trans Am was destined for trouble. Starter motors and alternators lasted only 30,000 miles, and sound systems suffered the same fate. The 1982 Trans Am's poor build quality and numerous mechanical issues made it obvious that it was not a muscle car you could count on. That's a wrap on the discussion of these muscle cars that missed the mark. Do you think the manufacturers of these cars should have just scrapped their ideas and gone back to the drawing board? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe for more car truths. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.